Hey everybody, let's do the last part of our drawings today. We're going to do the quadrant and the ellipse, the elliptical cam. We'll do these, of course, for the AutoCAD web app. As you can see, I've already got them drawn here. I'm just going to recreate them for you. So here's the quadrant for the lathe. Okay, we just call it the quadrant. So what we'll get started with, if you notice, everything hinges off of these two circles here. Because see, the radii that project out, all of these work off of just these two, off these center points. So we'll get started with that. So we've got two 4-inch circles. They're 8.5 inches apart. So we'll start with that. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. So we'll go into circle. We're going to change over to diameter because they're 4-inch circles. And then we want another one just like it. And I could use copy or I can use draw. I'm going to hover and zoom across. Get in here and hover. Start across. There we go. 8.5 inches. Back into diameter and say 4 again. There we go. So we got that. Now we've got a 2.5 inch drill, a hole, and a 1-inch drill. So we'll go back to that. So same thing with circle again. And again, that number was 2.25 and 1. Okay, 2.25 and 1. So diameter, 2.25. Center point, diameter, 1. So there's those, real quick and easy. We've got a line across the bottom. We know that goes there. So we'll go ahead and put that in. So now what we can do, we could go ahead and put our center lines in for these if we wanted to. So let's go ahead and do that. Now remember, the easiest way to take care of center lines is by using that offset command. So if we go into offset for circles, of course, hit exit, repeat last command, and now we can put in our distance. We're going to say 0.25 for 1/4 inch. There we go. Now I can go back in and do my line real quick, and I'm just going to do one of them, of course. There we go, say confirm. I can mirror the other one around. Let's turn this into a center line by changing its layer. So we'll go to Property, Layers, Center Line. There we go. Now let's just click on Mirror while we've got it highlighted in blue. Midpoint of the line, 45-degree angle draw out, and say no, we do not want to get rid of the source objects. Now let's do a copy of those two lines. There we go. Confirm, and let's pick the intersection. Now let's go to the center of the circle. Say confirm, there's that. Okay, real quick. So see, we've got that laid out pretty fancy, okay? So now what we need is we can start with this arc. It's a 10.5 inch radius. So if we go into draw, let's use circle again, center point, and we've got it in radius. Let's do 10.5, and it will hit right on the back of that, which is exactly where we want it to hit. I am going to move this over just a little bit so it doesn't get into the other drawing. So I'm going to move, mash my left mouse button and hold it down. Say confirm, click me a point and just slide it over here just so we can get it out of the way of everything. There we go. See, I'm not touching that, which is good. So there's that one in place. So now what do we need to do? Well, we've got that one in place. Now what we need is we need like this center line here. This will come into play here in a minute. So let's go ahead and put it in at 8 3/4 radius. So back into draw and circle. Okay, 8 3/4 is based off this center point again. I'm going to do 8.75. We could do 8-3/4. That would work also. So there's that laid in. Now it's going to get messy. We're going to have a lot of drawings on here, but that's a lot of circles on here, but that's okay. So now to get where these arcs go in here, we work off an 8-inch radius, and then everything falls off of that. That comes off of this circle. So an 8-inch radius. Let's go do that. So back to circle. Center point this time, at midpoint of those two lines, same thing. So an 8-inch radius. So there's our controlling point. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and lay out our first circle if we want to, or we can lay this one out as well. We've got a 6-inch radius from there. And that gives us this point and this point to lay everything out from. So let's go ahead and let's lay out that 6. And like I said, it's going to get really busy. That 6 is from here, 6-inch radius. So now that point there and that point there are the two that we're looking for. See what I've got? Those 2 points. Okay, so how big is it? 1 3/4 radius. So let's go back in and do those. So I'm going to go in the circle, pick this point. I'm going to type in 1 3/4, 1.75. There it is. Repeat last command. Do the very same thing here at this intersection. So there's those two. Just real quick and easy, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. That takes care of one of our problems that we don't need. Let's go ahead and get rid of this one. That takes care of another problem that we don't have to worry about. Now what we need to do is we need to put in this little arc here. This is a 1 inch wide slot. See it right there? So that means it's a 1 inch diameter here and here also. So we can lay those out pretty quick. So let's do diameter again. Pick the center point. And that is a 1 inch diameter, so we want to make sure that we hit diameter. And now 1 inch. Okay? We can just copy it, or we can go back in and say repeat last command. Again, find our center point. There it is. Change over to diameter, 1 inch. There we go. So we've got those two in place. Now, to get the arc in here, honestly, the easiest way is just go to offset. Okay? We want to hit exit as always, and then we want to go back into last command. And our distance is a 1/2 inch because it's 1 inch across. So let's offset this line up and this line down, right there. All right, let's go ahead and clean that slot up. Let's go to trim. First thing we're going to get rid of is these. Okay, let's get rid of those. And what we're going to do is get rid of them both ways. So now here's where we've got to be careful because we're inside of this. So we've got to pick every single little piece. Remember, work your way in. While we're here, let's go ahead and get this one too. So, okay. Now we've got it down to where we can work on it. So let's get rid of that and that. Let's get rid of that and that. Let's get rid of the parts of the circle that we don't need. There we go. Okay. So we've got those. We want this center line here, but we want it extended 1/4 inch out. So I'm going to go ahead and do offset. I'm going to go exit as always. Repeat last command. 0.25. Let's offset that out. Let's offset that out. And now what we can do is we can go trim and get rid of this on this side and then zoom in. Get in good and tight. Make sure we don't miss anything. I'll see, look right down here. How about that and that? See, that would have got you. You probably wouldn't have seen that. Okay? Look here, I left one. I'm going to have to come back and erase that. Okay? So let's go ahead and go to erase, and let's go in here and get that one. That little part right there. See it? We just highlighted it. And we're going to hit enter. Okay? And now we can delete these or erase also these. There we go. Okay, so pretty good shape there. Now we've got this arc here. So we need to put it in. So how big is that arc? Well, see, it's 1 3/4 inch radius, right? So that's from here to here, from the center line out. So because I haven't turned this center line into a center line yet, it's still an object line. Let's use offset one more time. Exit, repeat last command, 1.75. And click on that and go that way. There we go. Now trim. We should be able just to clean up here and here. Now we can clean up all of this in here. You're being real careful getting the right thing. Remember, if you accidentally pick the wrong thing, you can always come down here and click on undo. Okay? So there's that. So now we can get rid of this back edge here. How about that? That cleaned that up in a hurry, didn't it? So say confirm. Let's turn this into a center line now. So click on it, change its layer to center. There we go. So we've got that taken care of really well. Let's go back and see what we've got left now. So we've got all of that done. We've got that done. We've got all this done. We've got that and that. The only thing left is that. So how big is that? Well, it's a 2 5/8 radius. And look, it's tangent to this circle and it's tangent to this arc. So we can use tan radius. 2 5/8. So let's go back to draw. Let's go circle. And we're going to click on tan radius. Now, specify point on object. Where do we want to be tangent? Oh, right about there. Where else? How about right about here? And now what's our radius? 2 5/8. We can do 2-5/8, or we can do 2.625. Don't forget the 5. And there it is. Okay. Back into modify, trim, and look. That's it. Now, if you notice, these two lines are joined in this one. They don't have to be. If you want them joined, there's actually a command called join. You can type in J-O-I-N, join. Whoops, I'm still in a command. I got to hit confirm selection. Now let's type in J-O-I-N, J-O-I-N. And see it pops up on the screen. And all you've got to do for join, I mistyped. Let's do it one more time. J-O-I-N. There, much better. Now, all you have to do is click on the two lines. They have to be in the same plane that you want to join. And I'm probably going to have to hold down the Shift key to get both there. I did. I got them both by holding down the Shift key, and that joins them, okay? You don't have to join them, though, if you don't want to. I think it looks pretty good like this, like that, okay? So there's that one. Now let's move on to the elliptical cam. This one looks a little more difficult, but it's actually easy. We're going to start with a true ellipse, okay? So we're going back in, look, scroll down here. We've got an ellipse. This is called the major axis. This is called the minor axis. It's 8 inches across this way. It's 5 inches this way. So let's do that first. So if you notice when we go to draw, there is no ellipse command. But if we type in E-L-L-I-P-S-E, ellipse, and it doesn't want to come up. Huh. So what do we do here now? Okay. So our big problem is, of course, is this ellipse that we've got. And, you know, I've done a little bit of looking myself. So if I type in E-L-L-I-P-S-E, ellipse, ellipse is not a supported command inside this drawing. So I want you to do the drawing, but what I need to do is I need to give you a little bit of help on this. And that's okay, because we can't draw an ellipse in this program, but I do want you to finish it because the other parts of the command is what I want to do. So what I've done is I have created an ellipse for you. And I'm going to share it with you and let you use it. And what you'll do is you'll go to blocks and you'll say browse for blocks. And you're going to upload this either into your Google Drive or into your web app, whichever one you'd rather put it in. Okay. Really, you need to have it in your web app. Okay. In your Google Drive. And it's going to be called Ellipse. You're going to say, going to click on it, say insert. And there it is. Okay. And you're just going to drop it into place. I'm going to hover here and put it out here where we can see it. So there it is. It's the very same ellipse as we've got before, okay? So there's our ellipse. And again, this is a major axis. This is a minor axis. But now you put it in from its center point. So it says it's 8 by 5. So you would actually, if you were creating this in AutoCAD, we would put in the numbers 4 and 2.5, okay? So that's pretty simple. But we're going to use it just the way it is. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's put in this circle here. And it's a 2.5 inch diameter, and then we've got a 1 1/4 inch diameter. So this is exactly half the size of that. Okay, so let's go do that right now. I'm going to get back into properties here so everything's clean. Circle. And how far over was it? It was 2 1/4 inches from the midpoint. Okay, so I'm going to hover at the midpoint. I'm going to drag across. We'll zoom in so we can see what we're doing here. Hover, start dragging, say 2.25 because that's where it's at. And now how big is it? Remember, it's a diameter, and it's 2.5. Whoops, 2.5. There we go. Now, the other one was exactly half that size. So I'm going to say repeat last command, center point of the circle, say diameter, and this time I'm going to say 1.25, 1 1/4. Okay, let's go back and look and make sure we've got that right, and we do. All right, let's go ahead and do the keyway. Keyway is really simple. What we're going to do is we're going to make it, it's 3/8 by 3/16. It's 3/8 this way and 3/16 this way, okay? I'll show you a real simple way of doing that. So half of 3/8, because it is centered, is 3/16, okay? So the numbers are the same. What we can do is we can go to line, find the midpoint of the circle. Now notice, we want that midpoint. So touch that circle and then come here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out. We're going to get rid of this in a minute, but this really works out well. Okay, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to say 3/16. There we go. Now I'm going to come out and I'm going to click right there. But I'm going to keep on going. And I'm going to go another 3/16. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to say confirm. So there, that is the right location. This back here, I just used to get located. So I'm going to delete that and leave that little part right there. Back into line, click. Remember, it's 3/8 wide because it was 3/16 each way. Now, if you get at an angle like this, just hit undo down here, and you'll be right back to your first point. Now, make sure you're vertical, 3/8. There it is. Now, come back down till you get an X on the circle. There it is. And say confirm. Now, all we have to do is trim it out. There it is. Okay, hit confirm. So now what else do we need? Well, we need our center line through this and through this. Now getting that center line is a little tricky too. The reason why is because we can't offset this. It doesn't want to offset. So how are we going to do that? Well, again, we can cheat a little bit. So let's go to draw, let's go to line. And what I'm going to do, remember it's 8 inches across. So back this way, we're just going to add 1/4 inch. I'm going to literally click right here for my first point of my line. And I'm going to come out here and I'm going to come out 0.25. So there's 1/4 inch. Okay? Now how far is it this way? Well, remember, 8 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 is 8.5. Okay? So I'm going to come this way and say 8.5. There it is. Okay? Now all I have to do is just hold down my left mouse button, get rid of that little line there. Done. Okay? Now I need one vertical. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to hover down here. I'll get an X and a parent intersection. This time I'm going to drag down. I didn't think about that on the other one. I didn't even have to click there. I could just drag down and say start at 1/4 inch out. See, there's my first point. Now, it's 5 inches wide plus 1/4 on each side, so I need to have it 5.5. And there it is. So now that we've got them drawn, let's left click and hold down. Highlight them both. Change their layer. Right here, layer to center. There's that. Okay, so we've got that in place real quick and simple. So that works out pretty nice, okay? So now what's the next thing that we want to do? Well, let's go back and look and see. So we've got all this drawn. We've got this out here drawn. We've got our center line. So these two little pieces right here is the only thing that's missing. Okay, so how are we going to get them in the right place? Well, what we've got is we've got a 5/8 gap off of this to this edge. And then we've got a 5-inch radius. So we need this gap here. Well, let's go back in and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 5/8. So I'm going to go to line. I'm going to hover right there. I'm going to drag down. Now I'm going to type in 5/8 as my beginning point. And now I'm going to drag out. I just want this as a reference. So there it is. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do a circle. Okay? I'm going to do a circle. And I'm going to hover. I'm right here on that point I just made. I'm going to drag down, hover, drag down, and type in 5 and enter. There's my center point. Now go right back up to that point again and click on it. That'll give you the right location, okay? So now we can delete that line, and there's our arc that we need. So just that easy, we've got it in place. So now what do we need? Now we need this line down here. And it's 5/8 wide total. So from the center of it, remember what's half of 5/8? Half of any fraction, multiply the bottom number times 2. So it's 5/16 off the center line, okay? So let's go back in and do that. So let's go to line. And I'm just going to start here at the midpoint. I'm going to come up and I'm going to say 5/16, 5/16. Okay? I'm going to draw it out here. Just get me a line started. Don't have to be a long one. That's long enough. Okay? I'm going to click on it. I'm going to grab the grip and I'm going to drag it back this way a little bit. There we go. Okay? So there's our line. I didn't even have to drag it back, but I like doing this because it cleans it up a little bit. So there's what we need to get this thing going, because look what we've got left. 1/2 inch radius, 1/2 inch radius, 1/2 inch radius. That's all we have to do to finish. So how do we do that? Let's use the fillet command. So we go to modify. There's our fillet command. Our radius. You know, I've been using it and it's set on 1/4 inch. So if you've got anything other than 1/2 right there, we need to click on it, say radius, and say 0.5, and enter. Now, where do we want to put a fillet? This arc and this arc. How about that? Right click, repeat last command, this line and this arc. How about that? Repeat last command, here and here. Ain't that nice? Just so simple. Now let's use our trim. Okay, I'm going to start right here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'm going to work my way around. You always start on one end and go the other way. Don't miss that little piece. Now look where it got us to. Same thing. Got another little piece right over here. And then right there. And there it is. Now we need another one on the bottom. You know what's going to happen, don't you? Mirror. So we're going to get our cursor somewhere in here where we can mirror. And I'm going to get right about here. I can get down there, mash it, and hold it down. And can I get all of it? Yes, just barely got all of it, okay? If you was to miss something, remember, you can hold down the Shift key and select another object. It'll work, okay? So there we go. There's what we need to mirror. So I've got everything. Confirm selection. Start mirror point. Just get on the end point of that center line. Go to the other end point of that center line and say no. And guess what? That's it. That's all there is to it. I'll upload that ellipse for you to use. Okay? So make sure you enjoy this drawing. It's a lot of fun. Both of them are easy. You've put them all on the same drawing. Of course, I've got two of them drawn so I can show you what I was doing. And turn them in when you get finished. Have a great day.